welcome
to Giggly Witches,
episode 28.
Woo!
And Pam just pointed out that last week's episode, not this one, but last week's was our 6-month mark, our 6-month anniversary.
6-month anniversary.
Go us.
Yay.
It's gonna be a year before you know it.
Yeah, seriously.
It's like a year of us. I think we started our like one-on-one in like February last year.
I think so.
When it all began.
I think I have.
But today we're going to talk about how to create your own spells, because that's the most fun, fulfilling piece of being a witch. It's one of my favorite ways to be creative. And I think a great way to learn is to like buy spell books, read about, laid out spells online, to sort of like get a good understanding. But at the end of the day, I think the most powerful, potent, and fun spells to do are the ones that you sort of intuitively make up on your own.
Yeah.
So we're gonna have like a little masterclass today on how to create your own spells, like a basic framework to get you started. But before we do that, I don't have any silly goofies, but I thought we could share stories of like times that we did a spell and it worked.
Okay, that works. Yeah, we kind of used all our silly goofies yesterday.
Yeah, recording 2 days in a row while we're together. If you didn't notice, I'm wearing the same clothes. I've been wearing the same clothes for a week. I don't travel with many warm things, and
it's cold here.
This is what I do at home too when I have all my stuff.
Actually, it's 52 degrees today, so
I should probably crack a window. It's freezing in here. No, just kidding. I just ate. After I eat, I get cold.
It's definitely like the thermostat's up to like 70.
Yeah, it's definitely a regular normal temperature in here.
Yeah,
it's me.
Anyway,
I'm the problem.
It's me.
Okay, I made notes of 2 different notable spells.
Okay,
that I can recall. I actually have crazy stuff that's happened in more recent history too, but I don't do as in-depth like spell work anymore because I'm traveling, right? Like back in the day I had like an entire bookshelf dedicated to all of my herbs, every size and shape and color of candle. I had like my own apothecary. I miss that.
Yeah,
so much. I'm jealous of your
2 little shelves.
No, you have like a good amount of space.
Shelves. I really want when I move to like have a whole space.
Yeah,
that I can have a whole cute little shelf situation.
But do you have a spell that you can recall that you were like, whoa, that worked?
Yeah, I did. I feel like I've talked about this before, and I can't remember if it was just like us talking about it or if we talked about it on here, but I did this like money spell, and actually next time I do it, I think I kind of want to do it differently because I would love for it to work the way that it did, but without me having to work.
That's a good thing to know.
Yeah.
Explain it when how you explain.
So I did this money spell, and literally I was just like, I need to be able to like make rent and my car payment and my health insurance. Shout out.
We love life and all the costs that are associated with
it. Yes.
No, we don't. Just kidding.
I really don't. Yeah. And literally the next like 4 days I do a lot of like gig work, like working VIP events, merch, selling merch, things like that. And I got like 3 different random events, like spur of the moment. And then a gig that I already had lined up ended up just like being a couple extra hours, and they paid me more than I was like originally supposed to be getting anyway, and I ended up making like $2,500 in like 4 days.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it was great.
And what would you do differently?
Be like, I would love the $2,500 again, but without having
the extra work
to work.
Yeah, I think it's like I think when I do money spells, they're most effective when you make sure you don't tell the universe how it's arriving.
Yeah.
Because like I'll get really focused on like, oh, I need to sell X amount of like readings, for example. And then but like you might miss out on like, I don't know,
Cool,
different
fun.
kind of opportunity like floating on in, or you don't notice it, or you don't
Yeah.
have the inspiration to put it out into the universe, whatever. So I always say like it can come to me in expected and unexpected ways.
Yeah.
And I also, yeah, like to like say something along the lines of like, you know, without taking up like all of my time and energy or
Yeah.
like something like that. Because yeah.
Yeah. I know that now.
Yeah.
I actually haven't done it in a while. I should do it again. But because I haven't done this since probably 2023.
Yeah.
Should do
The
it again.
last crazy like money manifestation, this wasn't like a full-on spell, because like I said, and like this is important to note too, like you don't have to, if you don't really like resonate with spell work in a sense of like putting together like a physical tangible like spell, like that's not for everybody.
Yeah.
You know, it's not necessary, and I don't do that as very often anymore. I do a lot different kinds of manifesting just because, yeah, I travel. But I think I've spoken about before how I started like working with like goddess Lakshmi after I went to India and I learned about her. And I tend to listen to like Lakshmi mantras like in the mornings, like while I just put them on in the background, whatever. And this was recently. It was when I was in Mexico, because I said Pam a voice note. I was like, this was so crazy. So I not only like was playing in the background, but I did like like more of a like meditation with her, where like I like paid more attention, and I said the mantras out loud and did this sort of like this ritual, but it was all like in my mind based essentially. And then I I don't even think I posted on my stories that day, you know, didn't send out any emails. It was like a Sunday when I typically don't put myself out into the world much. And I sold like two of my like longest readings. So they like, you know, there were two of my like higher ticket readings. And then my dad randomly like was like, "Hey, what's your Venmo?" And I was like,
Why?
like my dad does not just randomly, he's not like, he's definitely got my back if I ever needed it, right? But he's not a like, "Oh, Sadie, thinking of you, let me Venmo you for dinner or something." You know, he's just not like that. But he's, you know, very generous spirit. He'll always be there to have my back if needed. But he doesn't do that. Okay. I just need to put that out there. And I was like, "Oh, it's like whatever." And he was like, "Okay." And then he just sent me like $300. Like he sent me like a lot. It was like hundreds of dollars. And I was like, but he didn't explain. So then I ended up calling him and he explained why and whatever. It was like, but it was a gift. It was just like a random, you know, there was a reason behind it. I'm not gonna explain, but like it was just a nice gift.
Yeah.
And it was just so fun. Like I voice noted Pam because I was like, I gotta send you this mantra. This is exactly what I did. I don't know why, but I just like, I think I manifested like it was over $500, or no, it was almost $1,000.
Yeah, I was
on like
say.
a random Sunday, and it's just amazing. And I wasn't even asking her for money. I wasn't saying a certain dollar amount. I wasn't saying, you know, please, I want to sell these readings. Like it was just like focusing on Lakshmi's energy, saying her mantra. I was like envisioning her and just trying to like tap into the feeling like of abundance. And that happened and it was really cool. So that wasn't really a spell, but kind of an example of how you can do a spell, but it not be like maybe what you traditionally think of as a spell.
Yeah, like a whole process.
Yeah. So that was cool. So I do that more often now. And you know what? Business has been really good. So shout out Lakshmi.
Hello. Sometimes I get into the habit. Do you remember on like AIM when you used to be able to have like sounds when you sent a message?
Oh, you know
Like,
what? I'm nodding my head, but AIM wasn't the thing in my town. We were MSN Messenger.
And you didn't have sounds?
I don't remember that.
Okay, never mind. Anyway,
maybe somebody listening knows what you're talking about. Like, never mind. Next question.
Never mind.
What was the noise?
It's like from Missy Elliott when she goes, hello. You know what I'm talking about? And then I get stuck saying that sometimes.
I love that. I love Missy Elliott. Shut up.
Shut up, Missy Elliott.
Missy Elliott.
But yeah, I haven't been doing as many like sit down spells either recently. I think that something that I really like to do, especially as somebody like with ADHD, where I'm just like, I can just like do this really quick. I don't really have to like focus on it, if that makes sense, is simmer pots. Simmer pots are my spells.
Do you like set an intention into them and everything?
Yeah. So you set an intention and like you choose like your ingredients the same way you would a spell. So instead of just like putting him on a candle or however else you would do it, you put it into the simmer pot. And that's like the spell, and as it just simmers it's like the spell is like, you know, released to the universe. And that I really enjoy. And then it like makes your home smell good. I made a really ugly one the other day, but that's usually they're pretty cute. But yeah, you can have like all different intentions and then they're really nice. And it doesn't have to be like a big, huge simmer pot. Like if you look up online, everybody has these like really elaborate big pots. But even I have this like, it's actually in your room, like on the altar.
My room over here now.
On the altar, there's like a little teeny tiny like cauldron, and you put a tea light under it. And even little things like it could be really little, so you're like, I'm not, you know, leaving the stove on all day or whatever. It's just tea light. Yeah, they're very cute.
So cute.
I'm obsessed with it.
Love it.
That's okay. I am obsessed with it.
I've told this story before. I actually told this story when I was a guest many years ago on Chatty Broads. So shout out
many years ago, back in my day.
But a lot of people found me through Chatty Broads, and I told this story, which was really fun. But it was the first time I ever cast a love spell, and I actually also went mega viral on TikTok from this same story. So shout out to anybody who found me through that or Chatty Broads and this story.
Did you tell it on Spirit, sis? I feel like that's when I
maybe
heard it.
But also, as I tell this story, we will be casting this love spell in my love magnet makeover next month in February, so you should join. But it was the first time I was doing a love spell. I was a baby witch, and it was when I was dating my ex Craig, the comedian, for those of you who know him. And this is when we lived together, and I was just starting to do spells and stuff. And emphasis on, I did not cast the spell on him. It was not directed at him at all. But basically, we lived in Redondo Beach, which is like about 45 minutes from LA, and he would go into the city at night to do his like comedy club shows. So he was like gone a lot of evenings, especially the weekend. And so it was a Friday night, because Fridays are Venus Day. Fridays are a good day for love spells. Yes. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna cast a love spell. And Craig was not the most like romantic guy, and I love romance. I have such a romantic heart, you know. So I was like, I wasn't casting on him, but I was like, my intention is to like attract more like romance into my life.
Yeah.
And so I did my little love spell, which is pinned on my TikTok if you want to go. I have the story and the love spell on there. But I did my little love spell. I think I did one where I set multiple intentions, and I had my like candles in a little circle. And it was like romance and self-love, and a big emphasis was on self-love, because I was like going through some stuff at the time, and like heart healing, and I had my little intentions. And this was the craziest thing. Okay. So Craig comes home, and he's not a romantic guy, has never done this before in his whole life. I haven't said anything. I have not told him that I'm casting a love spell. Okay. He comes home, and he's got this huge bouquet of yellow roses and like all of my favorite snacks. And he walks in, and I'm just like, what is that? And he was like, you know, I just was thinking about you on the way home. And in LA, like some of the interstate like drive offs or the ramps, like there'll be people like selling flowers, like bouquets of flowers. And he's like, I've never stopped at one of those to buy flowers before, but today I just felt like
Why not?
I just had to get you these flowers. And I was like, okay. And then he like also had stopped to like get like he liked my favorite like little chips and candies and stuff. It was so crazy. And the kicker to that is not only did he get me like a dozen roses, but he got yellow ones,
I was
which
just
are
gonna ask
famously my
you
mom's favorite
about
flower.
that. Yeah.
And
Did
he
he
did
know
not know
that?
that. No. And I was just the woman was too stunned to speak. I was like, what? And this is one of the like first spells I ever cast, like full on, where I like did the full ritual.
You're like, whoa.
And I was like, oh my God. I was like, holy shit.
Yeah.
And it was so cool. And I like explained it to him and how like, I was like, I didn't cast a spell on you. I just like imagined myself like loving myself and like just like happiness and love around me and whatever. And like we were just like laughing. We're like, that is so crazy. But it like planted the seed in his head. Like his little guides gave him the little download, like, oh, get Sadie some flowers because that's the spell I cast, even though it was not directed at him at all.
Yeah.
And so that was like so cool. And so I would say like most of my spell work is centered on that. I think it's so effective, like the sort of intention of like tapping into that energy of love and then expanding from there, because our heart is what the magnetic, like the literal magnetic force, like measurably magnetic.
Yeah.
And so tapping into like love, like a lot of spells I do now or meditations where I'm tapping into this, trying to like strengthen my magnetism. It's like, think of someone or something you love. So I'll literally think of like my cat Boo. Oh. Think of Pam. Something that you just feel like pure unconditional like love from or with. Or
are you saying you don't love me unconditionally?
No. Of course I do. But usually I think of my cat. To be honest with you, it's usually Boo. Or my dog Max, but now that makes me sad because he died. Anyways, I feel like an animal's love is so pure. It is. So it's like a good it's a good, there's not like your brain doesn't go, but what about it, so anyways, I like, that's what I'm going to teach in the virtual retreat. The 3 workshops I'll be hosting is like to sort of channel all your magic through the energy of love. So when I say like casting a love spell, it's not like that guy over there, I want him to love me. Yeah, I would never ever, because
free will.
Don't cast any spells that go against free will, right? Yeah. Like for the good of all and harm to none. Yeah, really good intention that I also insert into all of my spells and manifesting. And I find that when I say that, like it's like honest to God more effective. Like I don't ever like intentionally not say it because I'm trying to like pull one on the universe or whatever. Like just when I forget to say it versus when I do or like think it, I genuinely feel like the spells work faster, are more effective, and like surprise me. Yeah. So yeah.
And it doesn't, like, I know a lot of people will do different types of magic, and that's fine.
Yeah.
Do your thing.
Yeah.
Not here to
that's just
yuck anyone's yum.
Yeah. But the other noteworthy spell that I think I probably told this on Goddess Hangs at one point, but this one time I did a road opening spell because this one was specific. Maybe this was going against free will, but I don't think so. But that had this big opportunity.
Not for me, for other people.
But I'm like, I guess this was kind of, but it wasn't directed at like a person at the same time. But basically, this is funny to tell the story because I'm going to fly to New York tomorrow. But it was like an opportunity to be a psychic reader at a huge event in New York City. This is when I lived in LA. So like fly across the country and get to go to this huge event and be a psychic reader. And they were like, it's 2:22 on the clock right now. On that clock. I don't know. That one says something. Oh no, it is. I see the seconds. That's why I just saw the second. But they were like, we really want to have you. We just don't think it's in the budget.
Yeah.
I was like, damn. my friend Haley lived in New York. So exciting, obviously. And so I was like, okay, that's fine. I was like, I'm gonna do a road opening spell. And the intention was like this or something better. So it still was like open, but I just directed the energy. I like did like an intention candle. I think I had like a road opening candle that had like was like Reiki infused from somewhere at the time. And then I set out this like path with like, I don't know, I just sort of intuitively chose certain crystals and like made like almost like a pathway. And I put a road opening meditation like frequency up on like my TV on YouTube. And I did this like meditation. And the next that was like night. And then the next morning I had an email that was like, actually, yeah, how much is it going to be? And then they didn't even try to haggle with me. It was like this much. And they're like, okay. I was like,
all right.
Okay. And I got the job. And I got to New York with a psychic reader.
Yeah.
So it was really cool. And it was just so easy. It wasn't like there wasn't haggling. I didn't have to compromise what I thought I should be paid for or whatever. And it was just so funny. It was like, oh, it just like worked out. I don't know, maybe something else that they were budgeting for, maybe a different like quote talent like dropped out and said they couldn't do it anymore. So the budget opened up. I don't know what happened, but I was just like, the intention was like this or something better, and just picturing like the road opening up to like a really cool opportunity like that.
Yeah. Awesome.
Next day they were like, actually, yeah, okay, perfect. It's like, oh,
great.
Would you look at that? That's cool.
Amazing.
Yeah. So what about you? Any more spell stories?
I'm not gonna lie, I didn't prepare for this episode. I can't remember. I know that I did. I think we did talk about this at some point. Maybe it was in our like witch episode, like signs you're a witch. But I did do. This is just the other one that just jumped out at me, and it's kind of a good example of like the free will thing. But I did this truth spell where I had to have a conversation with somebody, and I was like, all you do is lie to yourself, and then so you lie to me. Like I know. And I was just like really wanting to like have a conversation. So I didn't do like, it was more of just a like help me. It wasn't like a truth spell on like having him tell me the truth, but it was like a truth spell on me seeing the truth of the situation.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like through his words.
Last time I did that, I was like, actually, I didn't want to know that. Never mind. I was like, oh no, never mind. I take that back.
This upset me.
Could you wait actually like 2 to 3 weeks before you
Really?
I'll explain that to you. I don't want to explain it right
now. Oh. But it wasn't like bad.
No, I just didn't. I was like, no, I didn't want to know that right now.
I was thinking of something else.
It wasn't terrible. I just didn't want to know that. I was like, damn it.
Yeah. No, but that was good. And then I was just like, just the biggest ick. And I was like, cured. Thank you. Thanks, universe. Yeah, so that's another one. And that was like such a like it was so simple. Like I literally just used like a blue candle and I think like mint, if I'm remembering correctly, is really good for communication. And then I just like did like a little triangle of like throat chakra related crystals, just 3 of them. And like put the intention in, and that was it.
Yeah.
Simple. Bing, bang, boom.
I love it.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I made some notes for ways to help you create your own spells. So, of course, the most important factor of a spell is just a clear intention. And like Pam taught us earlier in the episode, for example, if you're like manifesting more money, but you don't want to manifest more shifts at work.
Yeah.
Then
I know that was like when I was still new to spell work too. Yeah. So if you're new, get in there early. This is listen up.
Yeah. So just be very specific And always like frame your intention positively and in the present
or
or
past.
past, just not in the future. Because if you think of like, if you say like, I will manifest $1,000 or something, then it's like it's like energetically like the dangling carrot in front of the horse. Like you're gonna keep it in the future.
Yeah. We talk more about this too, like in our vision board episode.
Yeah.
So listen to that too.
Yeah. So and by positively, I mean it's like you don't want to say like, I don't want to be broke anymore. That's not a good intention. You want to say like, I always have more than enough.
Yeah.
No matter how much I spend, my bank account keeps growing. Things like that. Right. So positively, it's not, don't say what you don't want, say what you do want, and say it as though it's already happening, already have it.
Yes.
Like
yeah.
And very, very clear. Okay. There's also things you can think about. And these are like guidelines, but not hard and fast rules.
Wait, can I say something really quick?
Yes.
So on being really clear.
If I was like, no, we're moving on.
Clear. So being really clear too, like if you're trying to think of like the right way to phrase this.
Okay, Alice in Wonderland.
I meant like to untangle it. Untangle it in my brain. Like if you have a clear intention, but you're kind of like like you're a little foggy on it. You're like, I know that I want this thing. I'm just like not really sure I understand like the specifics of it kind of thing. Then that is something you can like ask the universe for. Like show me, like help me get clear on this. And go from there.
Yeah. I also always say this or something better.
This or something. Yeah.
This or something better. Because sometimes we don't know.
Sometimes we don't know.
Especially if you are going to be a little goon and you're going to do something specific on a person or something. Say this or something better. At the very least, I beg of you. Yeah. I beg of you. Okay. I'm like, because if you need to cast a spell on a specific person, honey, I think that's a sign that's not your person.
Yeah. Like if you're pulling a bunch of cards on somebody, or you're constantly asking the universe, or you're doing spells
for signs, spells
for the curb. Next. Thank you. Next.
Okay. The next thing you can think about when creating a spell is timing. Timing. That's the clock.
I got that.
Trying to put special effects into the episode.
I'm not editing that. You editing that?
No, I'm doing it in real time with my mouth.
Copy that. Okay.
No, I don't mean the visual. I mean the noise.
I was like, I don't want to do that
with my mouth. No, you don't need to edit anything. I did it. What do you mean? What is there to edit?
Well, because you went like this, so I thought you wanted to put time above us.
No, that's just
for your imaginary visuals. Copy. Okay.
So one way you can think about timing.
It's like, don't make me do it.
No.
Like in Dumbledore, that just made me think when he has to drink all the water and he's like, no, and he's like, you have to drink.
I hate that scene. I can't. I don't watch it. Once was enough for me. But one way you can plan out your spells is by the moon. Very popular. Like I'm sure you've heard us talk about. New moons are great for new beginnings, new intentions, setting intentions. Full moons are great for releasing.
Yes.
Shadow work. Full moons, you think of it like shining a light on things.
Yeah.
And then also the in-between phases, waxing moon, that's when the moon is going from new to full. So it looks like the moon is growing. And so that's great for like attracting, growing, manifestation. Like think about like the new moon, you set your intention and it's like the intention is like growing. And then the full moon is like the amplification of this energy, it manifesting. And then it's like, what do I need to release? And the waning moon, where it appears to be shrinking in the sky, is good for like releasing clearing, that kind of stuff. So
Yes.
you can kind of like think about it like that. Obviously, if it's a new moon and you're like, God, I need to like banish this energy out of my life, freaking go for it. You like your intuition. But just generally speaking, if you're like planning out kinds of spells you want to do throughout a month, that's a good guideline. And then you probably heard us talk about this before, but there's certain days of the week that are great for different kinds of spells.
Yeah.
The ones that I pay the most attention to are Thursdays are ruled by Jupiter. So it's a great day for abundance spells, money spells. And then Fridays are ruled by Venus. So great for love, glamour magic, all that good stuff.
Yeah.
But there's other days of the week too. Mondays are the moon.
I was gonna say,
so like
are you
intuition.
Yeah.
Like I don't know if I recall all of them because I don't work
Monday.
Monday's the moon.
So Sunday is sun, obviously sun day. Monday is the moon. Tuesday is Mars. So these are really good days for like projects, like tackling big tasks. Or like a motivation type of thing. Wednesday is Mercury, so any kind of like communication thing. Thursday, like Sadie said, is Jupiter. And Friday is Venus. Saturday, Saturn. Is
Saturn Day.
Saturn Day.
Some of them are easy.
Yeah. Right in the title.
So you can of course like look up if you're like, ooh, that sounds interesting. Look up the days of the week and like spells you can do for the different days of the week.
Yeah.
But
if you want to get like crazy too, I don't know all of them off the top of my head, but there's also like planetary hours.
Yeah.
Where like specific times of the day are ruled by different planets and things like that. So you could get like very specific with the energy, but don't stress yourself out about it. Like if you're like, I have to do this spell at this time on this specific day, and you know that you're never gonna do yeah, literally, like you're just gonna be stressed about it. Just do it when you can. That's goes for the hours, that goes for the days. Like do it when it works for you, because that's kind of the most important thing. Like if you're like stressed out doing this spell, it's gonna kind of, it can muddy it.
Yeah.
The intention, I mean.
Yeah, above all else, like your intuition and like when you need it, you know. So timing, you can do the moon, you can do the days of the week, you can do the hours if you want, but those are some, and again, you can cast your love spell on Tuesday, that's fine. But generally speaking, there's days associated with it. And then the other step, so we've got your intention, you're thinking about timing, and then it's like, what tools, what like materials, ingredients do you want for your spell? Now here is where it can be very fun and creative, but also don't stress about this. You don't have to go buy a bunch of new stuff. A lot of stuff you have in your kitchen, around your house already. A lot of stuff. I was always a dollar store witch. I got all my spell stuff at the dollar store, all the candles and stuff.
They have so much stuff.
But like I said, like now I rarely do anything like physical with a spell because I'm just using my intention and my mind and my energy. So, but it's really fun. I love spells. I miss it. So one thing maybe you've done before is using candles, candle magic. And as far as candles go, I mean, I most often did my spells with just like basic white candles that I got from the dollar store, but you can get colors there too. And the colors, you know, are going to align with different things. You know, you can do like green for abundance. You can do pink for love, red. I mean, red can be love too. To me, like pink is more like self-love and red is more like romantic love, but also red or orange is great for like creativity, for
like releasing anger, red.
Yeah, so there's different like associations you could do with the different colors.
Also, like there are specific colors, but also if you are like, because a lot of the time they say like blue is like for peace, and if you hate the color blue, it's not going to bring you peace. So you can like set your own based on what you like also.
Black candles are great for protection, and like yeah, at the end of the day, just getting like plain white ones, that works for anything.
Yeah.
You can do whatever you want with that. You can think about like the chakras and the color associations and get candles for that. If you're working on self-expression, a blue one might be good because that would connect to your throat chakra. So there's lots of ways you can kind of think about this, but the colormancy,
right,
can play a great role in spell work. And this would also be the same for like crystals. Like the color of a crystal is a good way to categorize what kind of energy it brings. And I always love to, have my candle and set up sort of like a crystal altar around the spell with my crystals and the candle.
like a grid.
Like a grid, yeah. So we did a crystal episode, didn't we?
Mm-hmm.
We have a crystal episode.
We have a crystal episode.
And crystals are, you can type in like, okay, I want to do a self-love spell. Type into Google, or Pinterest. There's lots of spell stuff on Pinterest too. Type into Google, like, what are good crystals for self-love? It'll pop up.
Yeah.
It'll say rose quartz and some other ones. Citrine is one of my favorite for like success, abundance, money spells. Love having citrine for that. So crystals are great. And then what's really fun is dressing a candle or creating a simmer pot or something with like herbs and oils. And so this again, we're not going to like go through a million of it. There's so much we could talk about, but
yeah.
What is a fun way? So I'll explain it this way first. So when I worked at the crystal store and people would come in and be like, I've never bought a crystal before, but I know they have energy. How do I know which one I need? And we would always say, just go around the store and pick up whatever you think is like pretty, interests you want to, and bring it over here. We're going to lay out the cards you can read. And it was always like exactly what they needed. Everyone was so amazed by this party trick because we know.
Yeah.
So you can do the same thing if you're not familiar with herbs and their meanings, but you've got a decent like selection of herbs in your kitchen. And you're like, okay, I want to do a spell. Maybe you don't even fully know the intention of it quite yet, but you're like, I just want to like see what happens. Go into your kitchen and just see what you feel drawn to. You're like, I just feel called, like I feel like I want to, and then look up the correspondence and you'll be amazed. And I think that's a really fun way to like learn through magic too, is like, what do I feel drawn to today? I know I'm doing a spell. For some reason, I feel like pulling out the cinnamon and the honey or whatever. And like you look that up and you're like, oh, cinnamon is good for abundance. Oh, honey is good for like making it stick or like sweetening up something, or, so like have fun with that. But oils you can use to dress the candle. It's a good way to make herbs stick to the candle. You can sprinkle herbs on top of a candle or around it. Careful with herbs to not put too many on the candle. It's a fire hazard.
Yes.
Do all of this carefully and at your own risk.
I do like to like have a second candle that's not like being burned as part of the spell, but kind of just to encase the herbs into the candle, if that makes sense. I don't know what the right word is.
Encase?
Not like encase. I like encase, not like in, like en. Like, so you dress your candle and then you kind of like seal the herbs in with other wax.
Oh,
you know what I mean? Like you drip the wax onto, so the herbs are all kind of like.
You know what I would do? This is what I would do. I would the one candle, I would soften it up with like a hair dryer or a little tea light. Like I would hold it over so the one candle just got kind of melty, and then I would press the herbs into it. So same idea.
Yeah.
I was like, I can't picture it right now. What do you mean? But I understand. Yeah. Okay. You can like, it's hard to just, I don't know, I'm visual. So I would be like, what are you talking about? You can look these things up.
Yes.
Just look up how to like dress the candle with herbs and oils. But yeah, lots of things we can do with that. And then anything else that, we just did a episode on sigil magic. So one of the things I do for most of my spells is create a sigil for it and carve that into the candle, or write it. If it's like a glass one, write it on the glass. That's a personal preference. I love sigils and candle magic. Those are my two favorite things. You can include any like I don't know, like any personal items that make sense, like I don't know, photos, charms, things that have meaning to you that make sense for this spell. Like there's really like no rules, it's like what's going to bring the energy of what you are calling in, setting the intention um for this. And also it's like, is this like a big 7-day candle that's going to stay on your altar and you're going to light every day for a couple hours, or light every full moon and you're going to have it for a long time and you want to create like an altar kind of around it? Or is this just like a quick little tea light and you're going to sprinkle some herbs on it and it's like more of like a faster, like quick spell that you're going to clean up in a couple hours? So there's different ways to go about this, right? But you can do that. And then you've got your ingredients, you've got your intention, you're sitting down, it's the right, it feels good what time you picked. Now it's time to create the ritual itself. So always good to cleanse your space and every tool that you're going to use. I use incense. I love a smoke cleanse. I also actually have a bell that I got in India. So I ring my bell a lot because I'm in Airbnbs and stuff. I don't know. Sometimes I'm like, I feel like it's fine to light incense, but not always. So I have a little bell. I ring my bell. But you can also just visualize, play some energy clearing music, frequencies. But if like, for example, if you're like cleansing with smoke, like cleanse the candle, cleanse the crystals, cleanse anything you're using. So everything's like a clean slate. Because if you think about like the candle, like how many people like touched it, the people that were stocking it, other people that picked it up and thought about buying it and put it back, you want it to be like fresh and clean and nobody's energy on it or random thoughts, intentions, whatever, the frequency that might be vibe in there. And then how I like to do it is I'll like take a few deep breaths and sort of like ground myself, like maybe like picture like my roots like going down and like raising up my energy. And then I'll start doing the process of like dressing the candle, laying out if I'm gonna like do like a crystal grid or anything. But as you are sort of setting things up, doing the dressing and stuff, you want to start like getting in the energy. You want to be focused on the intention. You want to be thinking about it. If you're visual, you can visualize it like playing out like a movie as you're like doing your thing, dressing everything. Like the most important thing is like you want to feel the emotions, the excitement, the appreciation, the gratitude, the pride of this manifesting. You want to tap into the emotion because that's a really powerful way for us to, the idea is that we're tapping into the frequency of the intention manifesting. So while you're setting up your ritual, thinking about your intention, getting in the energy, getting the excitement and gratitude building up. Anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, if you're like me and you have a hard time kind of doing all of that and focusing on getting your candle dressed, what I do is like do it in steps. Like it doesn't have to be this whole like movie that's playing out in your head. Like literally do it in steps. I do it in steps with every herb that I'm using, with the candle that I'm using. I'm like, okay, this candle is representing this. This herb is for this. And I imagine that what the herb will help bring in.
Yeah. Yeah. So you're the intention of each piece of the spell.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. And then this is where I feel like you can kind of like trust yourself, like what's gonna happen next. But when you're ready, I like to like, I mean, it's usually whispering it, but like I like to say the intention out loud. I'll say this or something better. I'll like say like, for the good of all and harm to none, I declare like XYZ. I like to say thank you, thank you, thank you, this or something better, and so it is done. That's kind of like my like little spiel I say. And then I'll like light my candle. And then I go into meditation and then like fully go into like I said, like I like to like build up the feeling of like love in my heart space. So I might like, it sounds funny, but I might like think of boo or something and like feel the love and expand it out for me. And then focus in on, again, like I've been thinking about the intention. I've already been like sort of bringing up this emotion, but just like expanding it and like imagining how like my spell is sending almost like a, if it's like a candle spell, like kind of like a smoke signal, how it's like radiating up from that flame and that message is like going off into the universe. And like it happens in different ways, but I'll kind of visualize it like almost like going up and then like dissipating and like sprinkling down like, oh, like I don't know, like snowflakes or something. It's like it's setting into motion all the things that are going to happen to make that spell manifest. And then I like to maybe do some writing after and see if I have any like messages come through. Sometimes I'll stare at the flame and like read what the flame has to tell me about it. Yeah, what do you do?
Yeah, kind of the same. Um, I'll say something similar. I usually will think the candle, think the herbs, think whoever I'm working with, whether it's guides or deities or just universe, spirit, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And as I light the candle, I'm like, okay, like as I light this candle, my intention is sent to the universe to manifest. And then I will typically kind of like either try and like meditate on it for a second. And to me, what that means is like, I'm not like going into a meditation or anything like that. I'm just kind of like imagining what it would be like for this thing to manifest.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so it's not like a crazy, deep meditation or anything. And then, or I will like stare at the candle and kind of like do the same thing. But if I'm like, I can't keep my fucking eyes closed today, like this is not working, then that's when I'll like look at the flame and go from there. And then if you're trying to like read the flame or read the wax or anything, but you have herbs on the candle, sometimes it kind of, I mean, the herbs will make the candle burn a different way, right?
Mm-hmm.
So just take that into consideration. If you're like, wow, that thing really went up, like, how were your herbs on it?
But maybe the herbs fell that way to make the flame go that way.
Yeah.
You never know.
Yeah. But you also have to think like,
yeah,
mundane over magic sometimes is the explanation. And that's what I mean. Yeah. Of course, there's always could be like okay, maybe they fell a certain way. But sometimes if your candle is like packed with herbs is more what I mean. Like, and you're like, wow, that whole thing went right up in flames.
Don't pack it with herbs because
it
will
go on fire.
Less is more.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, when I say I meditate, it's for like 5 to 10 minutes, nothing crazy. But then I like to script. So I usually do writing after that. Write it out, script it out.
Yeah.
And then you're done. And then, if you have a bigger candle that you're not gonna like let all burn at once, I always say like if you can like snuff it out rather than blow it out. That's sort of just like a magical rule because the idea is like if you like blow it out, you're like blowing away your intention. That's what they say. So don't panic if you're like, I don't have any way to snuff it out. That's fine. It's okay. Then I also like to anytime I like relight the candle, just take like a moment, and I mean like 10-30 seconds to just be like, take a deep breath, remember the intention, like as you light it, just and like try like it's always the emotion like that we're trying to like tap into briefly, and just like as you light it, like feel the gratitude again or feel the protection or whatever it's for. And then you're good. And if you've had like if you made a little crystal grid, but it's like, a little short tea light spell that's going to burn out in a few hours, you can, I don't know, you can put those crystals in strategic places where it makes sense for whatever the intentions are. Have fun with it. It's whatever you want to do.
Carry them with you.
Yeah. But the spells are done when you're done, when you feel called. And I think the most important thing after a spell is like that energy. When we had an episode about this kind of recently about like surrender and paying attention when you get a inspiration, a download, a call to action. That's your spell in motion. You know, sometimes spells do like bring something to our doorstep, but a lot of times spells bring us the download of like, oh, I need to do this way, or oh, I need to call this person, or oh, you know, it's like,
Yeah.
it helps us be more effective co-creators. So after you do a spell, pay attention to those little ideas you have. What if I did this? Or I should really call that person, or whatever it is, and listen, because that's your spell working. Very much so. Yeah. And that's a spell.
That's it.
Overview. Go fill in the blanks on Google because it's hard to explain. There's so many different factors. I feel like typically, like when I had a home, like I always had a protection candle. I had a candle on my desk that would signal the start and end of my work day. That was like a focus and success can't intention candle, like a bigger one. And then I would do like lots of like little, like usually on like full moons, new moons, I used like tea lights because they're like shorter, like of the moment. I always had a money bowl. Now I have a money altar, just not a money bowl. A little different. But yeah, there's like so many different ways you can use spells, ones that are always around or like longer, that are sort of like working ones, and ones for like quick manifestations in the moment. There's so many ways you can use it.
So many. So many things.
Yeah. That's what I got. That's my notes.
Yeah. I mean, I think you covered it.
Anything else about spells?
I mean, no, I think you did a pretty good job.
All right. Well, there's your masterclass on spells, folks. Let us know how it goes. If you have any fun stories about spells that have manifested, send us a DM. Tell us about it. Or comment it if you're on the YouTube and you can drop comments. We would love to hear from you.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's really like, just let it be like a creative practice that you like learn in the process. You can also find like full out, like almost like a recipe, you know, like laid out exactly. And I think doing a few of those is like a good way to like learn and build some confidence. But at the end of the day, like it's like let it be like a fun creative practice. And oh, the other thing I would say is take notes, make a little grimoire.
Yeah.
I have one on my Notion now. Oh, like a virtual one. But back then I had a notebook so that you can keep track of like, I think another important piece of spell work is to recognize when it has manifested. Because I think for a long time, I just didn't really like, it's good to like set it and forget it and just like whatever, but I didn't give myself credit sometimes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if you like take notes and you're like, kind of like revisit your grimoire or whatever, your little spell journal whenever, once in a while, say on new moons, and you kind of recognize like, oh yeah, I did that success spell. And then because sometimes spells, you know, they're in progress for a while.
Yeah, they take a minute.
So give yourself
They
credit.
kind of take a minute
when things manifest, because sometimes we just kind of don't give ourselves credit where credit is due. And spells are also about, you know, what we do after them. They help our intuition open up. They help us become inspired. Maybe give us courage to get out of our comfort zone, right? So it's not just like I wish it was a wave of a wand and things showed up. I do, but sometimes that's the case. But keep track of the spells you cast too, and give yourself credit and celebrate when they manifest.
Yeah. There was something else I was going to say before you started talking about that, and now I don't remember what.
Oh no.
I don't remember.
What was that? There's been ghosty around today because
I told you this house makes a lot of noises.
Yeah, it does. Somebody was saying hello. Well, giggly witches, That's our how to create your own spells. Let us know if you have any questions.
Oh, that was you. That just made me.
No.
I heard that. I was like, that
I
was.
touched a plant up here. I got long arms. Gotta be careful with these things. Well, find
That's
Giggly
it.
Witches on YouTube, Apple, and Spotify. Make sure you're subscribed wherever you like to tune in. Leave us a review or drop a comment. You can find us on Instagram and TikTok as well at Giggly Witches. Our episodes come out on Thursdays. Excuse me. Share with a friend who would also enjoy witchy magical episodes.
Mm-hmm.
And you can find me at I am Sadie Olson on Instagram and TikTok. And my YouTube is Magic with Sadie, where there's guided tappings and meditations and classes. I actually have a great abundance spell on there. So if you want a step by step, it's like a masterclass that we go through it together. We do a candle spell with a sigil and everything. So you can do the whole thing with me as practice. It's on YouTube. It's a good one. Mark an hour off on a Thursday this month and try it out. Let me know how it goes. And like I said, I'm hosting the Love Magnet Makeover 3-day virtual retreat. It's the weekend before Valentine's Day. It's going to be focused on self-love and healing and activating our hearts and cutting cords with the past. And so we can have a fresh new start when it comes to the love and magnetism that we have in our lives. So it's going to be super fun. And you can do it standalone or it's included in my Hot Witch Scripting Club membership. I'm also doing love readings, classic psychic readings, and I have my Freedom Fast Track coaching program that we focus on clearing out fear, shame, guilt, and need for approval so you can live your best life. That's what I got going on.
Amazing. I'm Velvet Snake Oracle on TikTok and Instagram. You can download my tarot freebie for free to teach you how to read tarot all for yourself and get started on your own journey. And then I've got some fun things coming as I finish up some courses and like some other cool things. So sign up for my newsletter to be, like first to know kind of on all that stuff when it launches and get like first dibs on spaces and discounts and all kinds of cool fun things. I also have a ton of like simmer pots and spells and things like that on my Instagram. So also on my TikTok, but so you can scroll through there. There's all kinds of different cool fun ones.
Who knows how long TikTok's
Yeah, I know. Maybe by the time this airs, we don't even have it anymore.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
We'll see. Thanks for tuning in, Giggly Witches. We'll see you next week. Bye.